Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tesla Life number 119 here on, what is it, October 9th already. So
Yeah.
just blowing through the month. We just started. We're already over a week into it.
Yeah.
Welcome very much to the show. Of course, on the other end of the line here is Mr. Casey Green, who is joining us from the DC area of the country. How are you today, sir?
Hello, hello. I've got some stuff, but I'm working out. Working out.
You're rolling with the punches, are you, Casey?
I am.
That's good. That's good. That's the way to do it. So
I'll
we've got a ton of news as regular. It just never stops rolling at us. And we start today's newscast with Tesla hinting about SentryMode cloud storage. So they've indicated that Tesla is temporarily storing SentryMode videos on the cloud, their cloud, and they hold them for 72 hours in all cases, I believe. What's interesting here is that, of course, no mention has been made about how maybe someone could retrieve those said recordings. Right now, they're just indicating in the terms of agreement that everyone agrees to when using the car that it's being stored. It's linked to a VIN number, which of course allows them to, I guess, retrieve it if they wanted to, or if they were maybe prompted to. But this could be something that's coming in the future. This could be a service. This could be the ability for someone to have remote storage as opposed to maybe saving it on their own hard drive or flash drive in their own car. Or this could be a backup system for somebody to use to have that extra fail-safe if their internal storage was to fail. So we don't really know what this is about. We just saw that the terms and conditions were changing in this electric article, and they dove into the details to see that this 72-hour storage thing was in effect. So interesting. We'll certainly follow it along and see if anything comes of it or if a new service appears. But there are just a number of different ways they could go with this. It's just kind of interesting to see that they've now indicated that there is a VIN number connected to the recording. So that indicates they could retrieve it for a particular car. And for all I know, maybe it's something about maybe law enforcement could maybe sequester tapes. Again, this is all speculation. Don't know. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting story.
It is. In the past, they've alluded to the fact that they are storing these, and it's kind of good to see they actually put it in the agreement so that that people actually know that it's being stored. In the past, people would assume that either Elon was lying or that the people who repeated it were confused about how it worked. But I'm curious if they actually delete it after 72 hours or if they just delete the VIN number after 72 hours.
Good point. Good point.
They keep saying how anonymous it is.
Because if they do delete the VIN, then you're right. Then it becomes completely anonymous again, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it does like Google and it hides faces and house numbers and stuff.
Right.
I can see that.
Right. So yeah, we'll keep our eye on it, see if something else happens or if a new service pops up overnight. We'll see that it was connected to this possibly. So
yeah, and then Green, I think it's at the Green only. Or I'm sorry, Green, I'm messing up your Twitter handle. He has said that that the videos he's seen inside the system are much more clear than what we see on the flash drives. So could also be useful if even if you do have a thumb drive, if that has captured the footage, if it has, if they just need a couple more lines of clarity.
Yeah, like it would be interesting to see if someone had an incident that happened and they really needed if there was something that law enforcement needed it to identify somebody or something. I'm wondering if there could be a request put to Tesla to get that information, even with the owner's consent, especially if you mentioned that it might be even clearer footage. That would be very interesting to some people.
Yeah,
certainly.
it's been suggested in the past that you could get a subpoena and get it, and then of course the super on the ball meshed together on the same story. Tesla phone support gives wildly different answers.
Yes. Yeah, that's a common thing, isn't it? Yeah,
It
different
is.
answers from different Tesla employees. Yeah.
They should just have apparatus on the wall like this TV here, that just train on Elon tweets. Just light it up whenever he tweets for like 20 minutes, whatever he's tweeted, and then turn it back off again after power save.
There you go. There you go. Next story Casey's got for us about a police pullover.
Yes. So last week there was a pretty sensational YouTube video by our Brooks at Drag Time. Rented lives today, and it made it look like he got in trouble, or his Model 3 got in trouble for running a stop sign in a shopping mall parking lot, and um, well, a strip mall parking lot, and later it became known that this was staged, and not only was it staged, he forgot to, or didn't, or refused to, or accidentally uploaded it with the officer's information clearly visible. And so a couple of reporters contacted the chief and the officer to find out, hey, what's going on? And first he said, hey, it was a joke. B, I wasn't supposed to be identified in this. And and C, if in Florida anyway, if the private property has an agreement with the police, they actually can get you citations. Otherwise, they have to wait for you to leave the private property, which would mean that they wouldn't get you for stop signs and stuff, but they would get you for speeding or other items like that.
Right. So that was interesting that the officer was actually contacted by a number of media outlets asking them, was this real? Was this staged? What was this?
Right.
And the point you made about some groups do have an agreement with the police that they can hand out some fines on private property.
I didn't know that part
Because
I would blaze through stop signs if there was nobody around.
No need to incriminate yourself, Casey. But but what's interesting is that a number of people, of course, commented on the video immediately that it was staged because of that reason alone. So it was they were correct though. Ultimately, it was fake, and I wonder if there was some blowback on that officer because he used his equipment in his position, even if he was off duty, to be in a video. So
it wasn't like the don't do drugs, kids. It was
right.
Got them some negative feedback. It was
an action gig, is what it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, interesting. I don't think it's the video tried to put out that whose fault would it be? Who would actually get fined if this actually did happen on a regular street or anywhere else that a police officer pulled you over? And I got to believe that it's the guy who has the app.
That's whoever's in control of the car.
Or if they can't find who has the app, for whatever reason, I'm sure it's the owner of the car would be charged, regardless.
Right. So I see that going one of two ways. The officer said is whoever's in control of the car ultimately. So if it's robo-taxiing, it'll be Elon. If it's you holding down the button, you're in control. The other option they could go for is they could go for runaway car, which is even worse than either you or Tesla.
Yeah, because that's safety concerns then, right?
Yes.
You probably would not want that for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I1 Tesla did a video with actual on-duty police officers, or I don't know if they were on duty, but they were doing a public relations gig, and so he sat some of them down and showed them how SmartSummon works. And I haven't watched the video yet, but I was reading the description of it, and so that will give you an idea of how North Carolina views it. So we have Florida and North Carolina on tape now.
Okay. Yeah. And Elon had made a tweet deviating from that story that Canadians were going to get SmartSummon last weekend. Well, didn't quite happen. So we're still kind of waiting. But it is Elon time. So we will see if that comes in shortly. Okay. Next story is about Chinese demand. And apparently from this story from Clean Technica, it's skyrocketing in China for Tesla cars. And they determined this by basically camping out at the DMV in China and watching cars that were coming in to be registered. And they were shocked with the amount of Teslas that kept coming in to get their plates so people could drive legally on the road after they had purchased the car. And it was interesting that this one particular DMV office in Shanghai, obviously where the plant is being made as well, is they had a ton of demand of cars just lining up at the DMV. It looked like a Tesla showroom with the amount of vehicles. Actually, it looked like the factory with that many vehicles in line picking up their tags on certain days. So it appears that, and of course, there's those tax incentives that are great for China. They've dropped, of course, the import tax will be dropped when the cars start coming off the line in Shanghai, as well as people can get their tags and not wait for them or be entered into the lottery to get their tags. So there's a number of pluses for Tesla that they're coming into with the plant about to be opened. So I don't see that demand plateauing. I just think with more cars in the country, it's probably just going to increase.
It was good to see that the line is going around the block again.
Not for the people in line, but
no, yeah, but for us as enthusiasts and shareholders,
exactly. So demand is still quite high and still going. So fantastic.
But it's just a mud field.
That's right. Yeah, just a mud field a mere 10 months ago. Colorado woman who was shown recently 2 weeks ago in keying a Tesla car was recently arrested. That she was caught, of course, with the SentryMode, and that video was viewed tens of thousands of times across the internet. And this woman basically saw herself on some different shows, and of course news broadcasts, and of course the internet, and decided that, you know what, the gig is up. She was identified. People were calling the police with the person's name that they believed it was based on the video, and she felt at the time that, no, I may as well turn myself in. So that's what she did, and reported to the police in Colorado, and now the courts are handling that particular case. So another win for the SentryMode or the TeslaCam, and great to see. I'm wondering if the word on this will eventually get out, that people are going to be caught, people are going to be recorded, they're going to have public scrutiny looking at them. Be interesting to see if this does slow it down, because I have, based on news reports, I'm not hearing a lot about the back quarter window being broken into anymore.
That's true.
Like that story has really died down. So not sure if people have gotten bored with the story or if they're just not happening as much as they used to.
Yeah, and there was a similar incident to this up your way. There was a Canadian guy who scratched the mess out of a car.
Exactly.
I thought it was
British
Europe,
Columbia. Or Surrey, British Columbia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and I think we got another story about
we do
slapping. So we will get to that.
I'm curious how this will work in the parts of Europe like Germany, where you can't put these types of videos online. Most of the places you can at least show them with the police and figure something out, but I'm curious about the ones where you can't even do that. How does this play out there?
It can be tough to identify someone if you have to blot their face out, right?
Oh, well, there's that, but also, I mean, like, if you're not even allowed to record it in the first place to share it with the police, how does that work?
Okay.
Thankfully, most places aren't like that. They at least let you share it with the police, even if you can't make them Facebook famous.
Right. We'll have to see as European incidents happen. Do you recall what country that might have been that had?
Don't. It was somewhere in the EU that has like strict super privacy. So
okay, we'll have to see that. If anybody is watching the show and knows what that is, feel free to add that in the comments below. Also, if you are following this show for the first time, haven't done it before, click the subscribe button if you could. Give us a number. give us a thumbs up, and that helps us get in front of more eyes on the internet, and we would certainly appreciate that. You can also follow us on Facebook at the Tesla Life #1, and you can follow us on our Twitter feed at the Tesla Life. So feel free to connect to those as well and see news all throughout the week.
And if you want to know when we're going to premiere, if we have a live event, etc., ring that bell and you'll know instantly.
Exactly. So another story that happened here is there was a picture that came up on Twitter just recently of a new type of supercharger. And this supercharger, unlike previous ones, was the color blue instead of red. So I'm just scrambling here as I'm talking to bring up that particular photo. It was shared in a Tesla group, and it was a very similar looking piece of hardware. And just bear with me. We're almost there. Well, we were almost there. Here we go. Man, I hate that when it jumps on you.
Oh, yes.
But, okay, so I've got the photo. And now what I'll do is I will share the screen.
Interesting.
There we go.
So
at a Lincoln dealership, this particular quote-unquote supercharger showed up, wrapped in blue and white, and the white lettering. Obviously, this is not a supercharger. This most likely, of course, is a J1772 adapter. But yeah, I think that looks very familiar.
It does. It's interesting they've got the vents going on at the bottom. It's like they were just literally tried to Xerox it and then just change the shape of the circle.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is a thing. It must be. It maybe other Lincoln dealers are doing it, but this is the first one I have ever heard of. Someone doing a unique pedestal that looked this way for Ford or for Lincoln. But
it could be DC if that's a liquid cooled cable, but otherwise, like you said, it's probably just a fancy cover to a J1772.
Yeah.
But the vents is a weird option because they don't need cooling like that.
So it will be interesting to see if these start popping up. If you see one of these, please feel free to send us in a photo and what location you saw it in, what area of the country, what city. That would be interesting to see if others have found these lying about in different areas. So please do. All right.
There we go.
Next story that we've got today is one about growth. Of course, Q3 just finished up, and what we were told is that over the past 6-year period in Tesla history, sales in the third quarter grew, get this, 1,664% in 6 years.
Amazing.
So, yeah, and we've always known it was going to be a massive number based on the Model 3 ramp up. But even 2 years ago, sales have grown 271%. So it's not just like it's a 6-year thing. There's still quite a sizable boost in actual sales in just 2 years.
Yeah.
And again, great for Tesla. The growth is moving along. Obviously, it's not 1,664% in 1 year now, but you'd certainly a 271% growth in 2 is nothing to scoff at either, especially as the volumes start to go up. So great on Tesla to see that, and it'll be interesting to see as we roll into the fourth quarter. And of course, we start to close in on the finish of fiscal 2019, what those numbers are going to be for Model 3 production for the entire of 2019. So we are going to definitely be interested to see as those numbers start to surface at the end of the year.
It's incredible to see that, in 1 quarter, they've made more cars than in some whole years of their existence.
Yep.
And looking at the chart to see that the Model X is outselling the Model S again slightly. And we just found out today that the quarterly results call will be at the end of the month. I believe the 25th.
Yep, and I'm sure there'll be a few interesting nuggets in that announcement, because there always is. There's always something that Elon answers a question or adds a little flavor to an existing topic. So
PETA shows up. Mark and I will be watching that and taking notes. That way we can inform you and irritate Russell at the same time.
Speaking of Russell, he's off this week, obviously, but we hope to have him back next week. Actually, next week may not happen. It's I'm heading out on an epic road trip, which Casey doesn't even know. So I'm going to be heading to California by car and taking my Model 3, and going to be doing the factory tour, visiting LA, San Francisco, and of course San Diego, and then heading back. So got a couple week journey in front of me and looking forward to it.
So do you get across that Supercharger gap, or are you going to come down to the States first?
I am definitely coming through the States. So I'm going to be taking Route 66. I'll be going through Detroit, down towards St. Louis, and then towards the top of Texas, and then into Flagstaff, Phoenix area, and then down to the border of Mexico into San Diego. And then I'll work my way north. And then the thought is for coming home, leaving the Fremont area, heading across to Reno, Nevada, to Salt Lake City, to the top of Denver, and Omaha, Nebraska, and through Chicago back home. So it's one way in, different way out.
That's the way to do it. You see different sites. Exactly. Yeah, we did Route 66 from Chicago to LA for one of the auto shows with Mr. Hypermiler, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Had a Lincoln, or not Lincoln, a Lexus 250H when it first came out.
Okay.
And we were doing a review, and the nicest stuff we could say was that the car was soft and quiet.
So there was a few bugs on the way with the car, or with its performance, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, his Accord would have done nicer than the Lexus did at MPG's.
There we go.
More room.
Next story, Case is going to tell us a little bit about some service. Service note that he received recently from Tesla.
Let me pull it up here. So I was minding my own business, and I have service scheduled for tomorrow. And so Surface is doing some good, and they're doing some bad. So on my service, here's what we're going to do to your car. They actually put an item that was only in my Tesla bug reports. I didn't tell anybody about it at Tesla or affiliated. I didn't write it down anywhere. The only way they could have got this information was if they went through my logs and did the bug report. And they did. So turns out that that's actually coming from Tesla mobile service, which we already know is phenomenal, at least here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then I get this text message from the service department, and they totally dashed all that goodwill they had just earned. And so somebody closer to Elon that was a little more on the famous side, was it last month?
I believe so, yes.
Had pointed out that what's up with this Uber crap, Elon? It's like it's pretty bad. You know, I just bought anywhere from a $35,000 to $155,000 automobile, $170,000 automobile. What is up with this Uber system? And he said, "Oh, it's definitely wrong. We'll fix." And it looks like even though he wants to fix it, service has doubled down on it. So now not only are you getting Uber credits instead of a loaner car that doesn't burn gasoline, they don't even want to see you. They want you to just drop the keys and leave.
Right, and that certainly will keep conversations very light, won't it?
That it will. I'm not sure.
Communicate with your service guy.
Exactly, and one of the things I need to do is demonstrate a noise to them, and that's going to be kind of tough to do if I never interact with them. But for those of you on smaller screens, I'm going to read this. It says, "Hello from Tesla Service. We wanted to take a moment to confirm the arrival process for your appointment. Please do not check in with the service advisor as there is no need, and we have already prepared for your appointment for a quick drop to avoid the lines. When you do arrive, please do the following. Park your vehicle in quick drop parking spot number 1 next to the service entrance. Locate the service drop box to the right of the garage door. Open the drop box and find the numbered stickers. Place the numbered sticker that corresponds with your parking spot on an envelope and drop it in the box with your key. Request an Uber and enjoy the time savings of a hassle-free quick drop. Be on the lookout for a text update for your advisor within the hour, and services to your vehicle are expected to complete within 48 hours. Check your Tesla app for updates and your estimated completion time." The prior text of this was them telling me that no, there will not be a loaner available, and at my expense, I can rent a car. Or walk.
Yeah, doesn't sound like they fixed it quite. No.
They doubled down in the wrong direction.
So yeah, that'll be interesting to see if more people get this type. Obviously, this is from corporate, right? This is a corporate piece of information. I imagine others are going to be prompted in the same way. So
somebody knows it's going out in order to go from the store to Tesla's system to go out to me. So it's not like nobody at Tesla but the store managers knows this. I'm not sure where they're able to insulate it from Elon, but they need to take care of this.
Well, forwarding this to Elon might start the ball rolling.
Let me at Elon. Let me first stop sharing my screen. At Elon, what is this shit?
What is this? What is going on?
Oh,
yep, that'll start the ball rolling. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if others are getting that. If this is the new direction that's fixing it, it obviously not. But you're right; they doubled down the wrong way. Next story was about the National Highway Transportation Association has indicated that with the onslaught of SmartSummon reports, that they're going to be looking into SmartSummon at this time. So I don't know if this is an official, investigation, or if this just is them gathering the facts as to what they see SmartSummon doing and how it's being operated in the public sector. But they've indicated that they're going to look into what this is and how it operates. And they have received a number of complaints from others. I'm not sure who these others are, but someone is bringing it to their attention about, certainly some, I guess, questionable driving by a driverless car. And they're talking about looking into this. So I'm not sure where this is going to head, but they are gathering information. And I'm sure at some point there'll be some sort of report or a memo about what they had found with this. Or it could ultimately lead them to question Tesla on a number of different things. So we'll have to see where this goes. But this was inevitable in my viewpoint, seeing that as Elon had mentioned, that it was something crazy like 500,000 SmartSummons were activated in a week period. Obviously everyone and their brother is trying out the new SmartSummon that they've got, and some of them of course are doing it. Oh, there's Casey's prompting him, so that's gone off. So
retweet this and link it.
Yeah, retweet it if you want, and that'll get some more eyes on it. But yeah, what do you think about this investigation? Does it make sense as to this is happening?
I think it's baloney. I've been using SmartSummon since it came out. Well, since I got it anyway. Twice now, my car has annoyed people. Once was this neighbor of mine at the mailbox. They thought it was a bad child driver in an expensive car, and they blasted around it. And another was when it decided to stop catty corner on the driveway at a grocery store. So what we're doing when we do use it, obviously, we're making sure that the area is safe. There's not too much traffic. The car does a great job of watching for pedestrians and vehicles. It stops at stop signs. It signals every turn, like I do. And so what we're doing is, if it ends up that the driver's side is going to end up on the wrong side of the road or kind of catty corner, we just go into the aisle and it pulls up next to us and we get in. And with all the safety features and the fact that, as that Floridian policeman let us know, that whoever's in control of the car is liable, I don't think that there's really much to this. Obviously, it's probably just like with the SEC, some shareholders, they call themselves shareholders, but they really share shorters, have brought the heavy hand of the law down on needlessly to waste everybody's time and resources, our tax money.
Well, certainly that could happen, but Casey, you must admit that you're using SmartSummon in a cautious way.
Mm-hmm.
You're not using this at a Home Depot Saturday afternoon when the whole parking lot is full, and you've purposely parked that car on the other side of the lot to bring it all the way up to the front.
Yeah.
But I know people are doing that.
I've seen people do it. It's all over Twitter.
So guess what?
Yeah.
If you get a bunch of people doing that in different parking lots, you're going to piss off people.
You're going to piss people off, but you're not going to run over any children. You're not going to cause any crashes, except for crazies behind the car zipping around.
But that's going to give it a bad name.
It will
Would you not agree?
I agree.
In the public eye.
In the public eye, and I wish they wouldn't do it that way.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything for this agency to do, because there's no crashes and there's no safety issue. It's all just an annoyance factor.
Right. So,
and it's not as slow as these people make it out to be, other than when somebody darts in front of it and it pauses for a minute to make sure it's not a kid it's running over. The thing runs at 5 and 6 miles an hour. It's quite zippy.
Right. But certainly you can see the annoyance factor.
Oh, I've seen it. Like I said, with my neighbor at the mailbox, and the one time it stopped across the road, which prompted me to change my behavior. And then all of these tweets that you see where people are using it irresponsibly, blocking traffic. The one where the Acura MDX almost runs into it because they're not doing parking lot speeds, and the dude on the dead man switch isn't letting it go.
Right.
And then the one where it gets crashed into because of the white car that probably would have hit the other car next to it if the Tesla wasn't there.
Right.
That person, I don't fault that person. I do fault the inattentive backer in that particular case.
The backer upper. Yeah.
And in fact, a lawyer weighed in on it and said that, well, it wasn't a freewheeling vehicle. The guy was in control of it, and the individual doing the backing should have made sure the way was clear.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see as this goes along, and of course, as more people receive it and more people use it. Some responsible, some not so responsible. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see as this escalates. But it definitely has reached some ears in the first couple weeks. Yes. Definitely.
The good thing is that so far, other than investigating crashes and releasing information early, Tesla tends to be on good grounds with this agency. And so I'm thinking if they can continue to rev this thing, make it faster, make it safer, make it more responsive, that by the time they actually are able to do the paperwork, it'll already have solved itself.
Right. Hopefully that is the case.
Yeah.
Next story is about Tesla acquisitions. Tesla has purchased another company quietly, another Canadian firm, this being Hibert Systems of Richmond Hill, Ontario, which is a suburb of Toronto. And this group was acquired wholly in, I guess it was July, but it was only announced October. So it happened certainly on the down low. No one really heard about this at all. But what this Hibert
I've been calling them high bar, like doing the jump, high bar.
It could be high bar. I'm unfamiliar with them. I've never even heard of them, but that's not a big surprise. They basically offer advanced vacuum filling systems. And what this applies for, of course, for Tesla is the packing of their own batteries in aluminum sleeves. Mm-hmm. And this company specializes in filling vacuum sleeves and for an actual lithium ion battery application, makes perfect sense. So again, this is more evidence leading to what we have discussed previously, is that Tesla most likely is going to become their own battery producer. They're going to make their own, they're going to pack their own, and ultimately they're going to create their own packs, which of course is Panasonic's job right now, producing those cells. But it looks like at some point Tesla's going to start trying it themselves and seeing if they can be, it makes sense cutting down on your suppliers. If you can do it yourself at a cheaper rate, you're not paying anyone's markup. You're not paying those profits. They're all coming to you. So it'll be interesting to see when this starts. Like we heard about previously about jobs being offered in Fremont and in Denver, Colorado for battery users, or I'm sorry, engineers. And it'll be interesting to see when some of this starts to happen and what vehicle will be the first to receive these type of batteries.
It'll be fun to watch because I don't think that Panasonic or LG will get the boot anytime soon because Elon keeps saying how they're both not making enough batteries for him. So I think what we'll see is he's got 2 large battery factories and a solar energy plant online right now.
Yep.
So what I think we'll see is they'll add to the capacity, and then at that point, whenever they're able to meet demand, we might see them start to change the agreements or change the relationship with the battery suppliers.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't want to upset the apple cart before you're at the production that you need to be.
Exactly.
You make sure that everything is running just fine before you would pull the switch on something like that.
Oh yeah, or even give them a whiff of the idea that you're unsatisfied. And somebody brought up a good point that between High Bear, these guys, and Grauman and Maxwell, that Tesla actually has gone back into the parts OEM business. They are fulfilling some agreements for the companies that they acquired. So it's like when they used to make powertrains for Daimler and Toyota again, but
right.
On a smaller scale.
But this, of course, is for them, really.
Yeah, it's mostly for them.
They wouldn't be selling this to us. Maybe they would. Maybe they would sell parts at some point to other groups.
It makes sense.
That's yeah, absolutely. If you've got a couple, once you get the production you need, and then you're going beyond that, then of course that becomes an option.
Yeah, and he can do it at a discount compared to his competitors, which means that he is able to fulfill the goal of lifting all the boats by making the competitors able to make their vehicles for less as well. And then because he doesn't have to pay a markup on his own stuff, his cars are cheaper, they're more compelling. It's good all around.
Exactly. Next story Casey's got for us about a motorcycle slap.
Yeah, motorcycle slap. So this one is not SentryMode, it's TeslaCam. There was a motorcyclist who broke off this dude's mirror. So let's
I've got that photo. Let me share it for you.
Okay.
Here we go.
There we are.
Yeah. So you can see he's got his hand out approaching the driver's side door.
This is the driver or the passenger?
No, my mistake. The passenger side door.
Yes. So what happened here was we see this guy initially in there's a series of 2 videos. He's initially way out in front, and the Tesla comes up behind him. Doesn't make any menacing moves or anything that we can see in the video, and then we see this guy dip way back as if if he was allowing himself to be passed, and then next thing you know he zooms way back up with his hand out like this, and then next thing you know he knocks the mirror off of this Tesla here.
Yeah.
Between his license plate and his tattoo, they were able to find him very quickly and give him a citation for vandalism.
Yep, he's now before the courts, I understand. So, again, will people get the message that they are actually being recorded in a lot of circumstances when they're interacting with a Tesla vehicle?
And not just Tesla. If you see anything with an Uber sticker, it's probably also got a dash cam. If it's a police car or a commercial truck, it's got a dash cam.
Well, I don't think this guy would be slapping a mirror off a police car.
Probably not a police car. Maybe a semi.
I would hope that he's not that complete amount of idiocy to be slapping mirrors off police cars. But who knows? Who knows? Because it was a crazy incident where you're right. He was backing off like to be passed, and then all of a sudden he ripped down the middle and got close to the car and slapped the mirror off. So,
but at least he was on a cruiser and had chains. That would have been a mess.
Yeah, that would not be good. But glad to see that he's been caught, and hopefully the word will get out to don't mess with a Tesla, because your face is going to be on social media all over the place eventually. Interesting story that came up just earlier this week, is about Elon tweeting about directional horns. So someone had indicated to Elon in a series of tweets that it would be interesting, it would be good to allow us to direct the horn blasts to different corners of the car to alert people that were on that side of the car, behind the car, as opposed to just your regular horn. And of course, in true Elon style, he replies, "Done." So we don't know what that means. But it was an interesting thought. And Casey was talking before the show started about how many speakers would the Tesla currently have on the outside?
So the Model S and Model X's all have two horns. You've got a high and a low. And then on the Model 3s, before September, you have the same two horns. And then the Model 3s, September and later, have the two horns plus the pedestrian noisemaker speaker, which... I tweeted back to Elon that I actually do beep at people behind me all the time, just general tailgaters or just people not paying attention to the road. And I guess technically that with the noisemaker they could direct sounds, but I'm wondering if they're gonna have to install some new hardware on the cars going down the line, because and then how would you command the car to honk the rear horn? How would it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Or the side, whatever.
So it's like it's a long press is the back and a short press is the front. Like it would be or do you have to reach out to the touch screen to do it? I don't know. It's all speculation. All we got was done. So we will have to see if this comes to fruition, what it is, how it's operating, what it really is. But also in the same conversation or just previous to the conversation.
Yeah.
There was a discussion about having some customizable noises that would come out of the speakers. And of course, what was mentioned was one of my all-time favorites from Monty Python, was the noisemaker of the coconuts, or the fake horse hoofs running through the forests. So I can hardly wait. And of course, Elon indicated right in his tweet that he said coconuts, of course. Like it was a foregone conclusion that this would show up regardless.
Coconuts and farts and all sorts of custom noises.
All sorts of fun stuff. And like we've talked about previous in other Tesla Life shows, the guys that made the fart noises, they got lots of work ahead of them.
They do. Totally do.
It's not just one application. Now they're going to be farting and tooting outside of the car. So they got lots of work ahead of them. They got lots of stuff to do.
He did stop short of saying that you'd be able to upload your own sounds, not just for decency, but also copyright. And so he stopped short of that. I think it also goes into what we talked about with the laws, is that however many sounds you have, if they are set for the fleet, they're still set, but you don't have to. If once you add the custom sounds, then they might be in a gray area or actually breaking the law.
Right.
So they got to look into that. It's probably a legal requirement that they didn't answer that.
And just a quick sidebar, since we're talking Monty Python, there is, of course, a new Easter egg that was found by somebody that if you type in the car name, Patsy.
That sounds right.
I think it's Patsy.
Yeah.
It changes to Monty Python theme, and of course the big foot comes down on the screen, and it links to a number of Monty Python links on the car screen. So
and they'll show up in the Tesla Theater if you have version 10.
Right.
And if you use a different Monty Python name and you tell the car come here, you get Monty Python sounds coming from your phone.
So again, these guys making fart noises, they got a lot of work in front of them. There's a ton of work.
Yeah.
So
Another thing somebody pointed out is that if you could upload your own sounds, what's stopping you from uploading silence, or at least something that doesn't register through their sound system, so it comes out.
And doesn't that all come back to maybe they have to have dedicated sounds because there's a certain decibel of noise that has to happen in order to be a noisemaker. So that makes complete sense.
Right, and you don't want somebody running down like a elementary school, just blaring out profanity or something like that.
There you go. There you go. Next story, Keith is going to tell us a little bit about production amounts.
Yes. So, the article that I read mentioned that quietly, Tesla had reached 7,000 cars per week. And if you remember back just a few months, there was a lot of hand-wringing and discussion and doubt about whether Tesla could reach 5,000 cars a week. And if you remember when they actually started with the Model 3, that they were making less than 100 cars per week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was certainly some doubt at that point, wasn't there?
Yes. And some on this panel, and not this panel today, but
certain people that remain nameless.
Yes, several, and and so the article that I read pointed out that not only have they reached the 7,000 sustained, but you can't count on it just multiplying that times however many weeks in the quarter, because you have somebody's going to pull the end on cord. You're going to have to rework some stuff directly on the line. There could be a shortage. Somebody has to go to the restroom, an emergency, etc. So you do have to back off a little bit from the number. So what they really need is, what he say, 7,800 to to get the was that 100,000 a quarter or 80,000 a quarter, something like that?
Yep, correct. Yeah. So again, a phenomenal increase in what the production is. I just remember recently that they were talking that, was 6,000 a week really 6,000 a week? Well, now it's jumped it by 1,000. So 6,000 is definitely true. And of course, if they're just touching 7,000 in 1 week, or maybe a week and a half, or an aggregated week of only 6 days, that's fine. They're keep pushing the bar up. Production is continuing to go up, and that's great to see that not only can they produce the cars in an effective way and to hit those quarter and yearly totals now when they're actually producing that number, but as soon as Shanghai comes online, we're talking about adding a few thousand to that total immediately. So pushing 9, pushing maybe 10 per week. Wow, that's quite an accomplishment that they've done. It is,
and as you said, that that 7,000 is sustained. It's not they hit it once, and Elon and crew didn't help the matter with the controversy when they did 6,000 gated units, or this many cars on the truck, but now the sustained, and they didn't announce it. It's no fanfare. In fact, they hit their best quarter ever yet again. And the stock market is like, oh, you were short of this imaginary number that we invented for you by, what was it, 300 cars?
Yep.
300 cars short of an imaginary number, and yet now all the world is falling down. But it was the best they ever did. If you look at the actual numbers.
And you know what? They should just ignore the noise and just keep on their track. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Wall Street says they should have, because they just keep getting better every quarter. As mentioned, it's another record, and continuing on that, I just see success ahead of them for the future. I see nothing but success if they can continue what they've been doing for the past maybe 7 quarters, 6 quarters, definitely. So fantastic. Kudos to the development team and a production team that are keeping this machine running.
Yep, and then if they could get some of those people to focus on fixed service, the mobile service is great.
Another story, but yes, they've got to turn their attention to other things, because certainly there are other aspects that need attention, definitely, and service is certainly one of them.
And speaking of service,
next, last story of the evening is about degradation of battery. We've got a story that came out of Inside EVs where they took actually a combination of a number of stories, rolled it into one big story. And one of them, they were talking about a Model 3 owner that has, of course, been tracking his mileage and what type of I guess juice he's getting out of his battery for multiple charges. And this particular gentleman indicates that he's driven 50,000 miles in his Model 3 long range, and he is now, he believes from his calculations, at about a 2% loss in the battery pack after just over a year. So he's indicating that, and of course, there's a chart that comes with this. I encourage you to go read the article, but Teslanomics added a chart to this, or agreed to have their chart displayed, and it shows a number of different data points from all these people that are doing the same tests on their car, showing where the degradation could be, what percentage it is, what mileage they're getting, how long they've owned their vehicles. So it certainly seems to be light based on other reports that we've seen from other EVs, like, for example, Nissan Leafs or other cars, that there seems to be a bit of a hit after the first year. But in this case, again, some say there is more of a hit than 2%. Some say they're getting no hit. It's all over the board. But this particular driver, putting 50,000 miles on the car, has gone through a number of charge cycles, and certainly it's probably more realistic than someone that's not driving the car much. But it's interesting. Casey, maybe you can comment on what you've seen with your vehicle not being a Model 3 with the X.
I certainly can. So this vehicle was a Tesla Model X 2018, delivered on the last Saturday of September 2018. And I put, as you can see, 36,010 miles on it. And I've seen a capacity loss of anywhere between 3.53% to 3.65%. And it's still going strong. So it was delivered. It was supposed to do 289 miles. I don't think I ever actually hit that on the display. Some people said more than that. So it's batteries are chemical. They're not silicon. So it's going to be kind of mushy. So a couple miles off, no big deal. 289, 287, no big deal. And so as you can see now that my current range is anywhere between low and high of 276 miles and change. So I've lost a total range of 10 miles. Or 9
over
miles.
what period of time?
Over just over a year, but 36,000 miles of driving.
Okay, all right. So yeah, it's certainly something that happens with all battery packs. Of course, what people are concerned with are with large drops, and it's, I would say, with the Model 3 fleet starting to mature, where a lot of the vehicles have been on the road now for over a year and into their second year. We're going to be getting more and more of these reports as people start tracking the data, seeing where they're at. I'm hopeful based on Tesla's ability to take past models and improve upon things, that the Model 3, with it being basically a fourth generation battery pack, has taken some lessons learned from previous packs, as Casey's car has from the Model S. So they learn from the different vehicles, and of course they're always tracking these stats and building it into. And that said, I would imagine, all being the same, that the Model Y would be an improvement upon the Model 3, basically because they're able to tweak things that they saw or see during the operation of all these Model 3s.
And the batteries they make today are actually Tesla custom, even though Panasonic and LG make them. Tesla makes the formula. Tesla makes the everything about them. So they can control it, and they're only going to continue that now that they have Maxwell and High Bar. And as you can see here, I've only charged the vehicle to full 4 times ever, and I spent a lot of time at 90% and 80% apparently. If you can see the
It looks
152
like that, yeah.
and 254. I was at 70 for a long time, and then I saw that video from like Tesla. Kim had said that that their vehicle lost track of where the top and bottom were
Where the
at
top
70%.
was. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so
Yeah.
I turned that off and I went to 80. Um, and then let's see. While we're in here, I'm curious how much power I've used since I got the car. Let's take a look.
All right. So we
But I
got
want to go ahead and
36,000 miles of range for how much power?
exactly. So while I'm clicking on that, let's talk about our social media.
Absolutely. If you're watching us for the first time, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It costs you nothing, helps us out, gives us another number. And of course, thumbs up gets us in front of other people. And if you like, you can follow us on Twitter at the Tesla Life, and you can follow us on Facebook, the Tesla Life #1, and follow us all throughout the week as news breaks.
Absolutely. So on AC charges, I've burned 26,000. Oh, sorry, I've burned 7,529 kilowatt hours for a total of 26 days of charging. And on fast charging, I've earned 9,000 kilowatt hours for a total of 5 days of charging, Supercharger and Chatamo. But don't forget on these, when I charge to 100%, that slows it way down. So for a total savings of $1,200, I spent $15.15 on stations where you had to pay.
Yeah.
On my AC charging and home charging, I spent $1,033, and for total charging, I didn't spend $1,289.49. So
There you go.
Very economical.
That's awesome. Now, what is the stats page you're using? What is that? Is that a program? Is that something that you've put together?
It is an app called Teslafy. It's a website. I can give you my code that will give you an extra 2 weeks of trial. They give you a 2-week trial out of the box, and if you use my code or a friend's code, it'll give you a month of trial. And it's really cool. It just watches your car all the time, so you can do stuff like track your battery degradation, track your charges, and then if you do use your vehicle for any sort of business, you can track your start and end points, and actually tag each of your drives with business.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll put those into the notes. So that's great.
And as you see here, this RS Automotive, we had a article about it. It's the first gas station in North America to take out the pumps and go to electric charging. We just put a vehicle up on my channel at Casey Green, youtube.com/Casey Green, KACEYGREEN, and you can take a look at it right there.
Absolutely. Casey was out in the evening to check out the actual new site. So check him out on YouTube and watch the episode where Casey visits the first U.S. station to switch completely out of gasoline and into EV chargers. How many actual chargers were there, Casey? I forget.
There were 4 DC chargers and 2 1772 chargers at 30 amps. Mm-hmm.
All right. And when you were there, was there anyone charging?
Yes, there was a Chevy Bolt, and yeah, off camera we had a discussion with her, and it was a blast. So Tesla time doesn't just happen with Teslas.
Absolutely. Well, any other show that you want to give at this point? We're at the end of the show.
In a few minutes, catch us on What Drives Us.
Oh, no, actually, What Drives Us isn't happening this week.
Oh, it's not happening this week.
That's right. Yeah. So
I apologize.
It'll be the week after. But and as I mentioned, this show may not happen next week. We're going to have to see how that goes based on the location I'm in. But if you want to follow my adventures, just log on to the Twitter at the Tesla Life, and I will be updating with photos and information as I'm traveling along. And yes, I'm going to try to collect the complete cost of driving Route 66 from Kitchener, Ontario, all the way to San Diego along Route 66.
Let's get you a trial of my Teslafy.
That's right. That's
a month's worth. And the Tesla Life, it tweets a lot. It's not overwhelming. Mark is very responsive, and it's not like some of the others that tweet every 5 minutes. And it's not one of the ones that like only tweets once every month. So it's a moderate amount, and you'll enjoy it.
Very good. Thanks for the plug, Casey. And to you, thanks very much for watching today. Again, give us that like check mark right now. Don't forget, do it. And we will see you next week or the week after and find out what's going on in the Tesla life. Good night, everybody. Have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you later.